The results of the 2024 elections may give some the impression that things will get better. But look at these three prophetic and sobering words we mustn't overlook. In the last days, perilous times will come. Evil men and impostors will grow worse and worse. The Bible doesn't say that things will get better in the last days, but worse and worse.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I feel like I agree with Ray Comfort here as to the results of the election. Things are going to get worse and worse, but we're going to get into it. And I've got a special guest here today. So I am Brentley, and this is the Punk Apostate. Let's go. Yeah, so today I've got stand-up comedian and MMA fighter, I guess, right? Or trainer, Ian Harris. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How you doing?
All right, hanging in there, you know.
Yeah, that's all you can do at these days.
It's getting worse and worse. I don't know. It's crazy. It's like,
just like the title says.
Right? Yeah, just straight up. Right? I couldn't believe that I had to be in agreement with this guy. That's not a position I like to take too often. But
how are you? I was thinking the same thing when I watched it. I was like, oh, yeah, I agree with Ray Comfort. Things are shitty.
Yeah, this is bad. This is bad. Are you familiar with Ray Comfort and his work?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I actually did my first comedy special. I did a bit about his banana video.
Oh, hell yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I loved the stand-up you did. I got it on Amazon, I want to say, right?
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, probably, yeah. Yeah, the first one I did, that they went to Hulu. I think it went to Amazon eventually too, but it went to Hulu and Apple TV. And then the second one I did was supposed to go to Netflix, and then that got screwed up last minute. Then it was supposed to go to Showtime, and then ended up doing Prime exclusively.
Oh, right. Oh, geez.
But Prime didn't have any sort of reach, unfortunately. You know, they don't promote shit. So that one was really solid too. And I'm like, oh man, that's the one that should have been on Netflix, but that's okay. It was shot for Netflix, but
damn, yeah, that would have been awesome to get on Netflix. That's like the spot to be, I think, for comedy specials.
Yeah, especially that was 2018, so that would have been the right spot.
Oh, that was right in the best time.
That's what happened though. They had flooded their own market, so.
Dude,
by the time we got it out, it was like, and then, you know, there's the diversity push thing. So middle-aged white guy that wasn't famous wasn't really their top of their queue, which is fine. I'm not complaining. I'm not trumping it. I'm not like white people are depressed. I'm not doing.
Right.
This was a fact of reality, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I feel you there. Totally makes sense. It's like it kind of sucks to be in this demographic when you're kind of like, we are the problem. I get it, and or a big part of it, I would say. But yeah, so it's like I said, I champion inclusion and everything. Yeah,
it's funny though, man. It just, you know, not to go off topic, but and I say this like repeatedly, but and I think it's obvious. I'm not saying anything anyone doesn't know. Well, yeah, I'm not saying that. I am saying things that millions of people don't know because they're freaking stupid. But the extreme left, what they keep calling woke, which is the culture war thing, is so ridiculous in their lack of understanding and self-awareness that they keep overly pushing stuff. So it's fine to have inclusion. It should be inclusion. We should give, there's a comedian that's trans, cool. Yeah, give her whatever a special if they're worthy of a comedy special. Oh, there's somebody who's an Asian girl. It's a whatever. It's like, sure, don't exclude people. That's and give them opportunities for sure. Underserved, right. But at the same time, if you go and we are no longer talking to white people anymore, right. That doesn't really serve the purpose, and all it does is fuel the dummies on the other side who go, white people are oppressed. Right. Like, well, sure, the dummies on the other side should understand the nuance of that and go, okay, it's somebody overreacting and overcorrecting for a problem, and it'll self-correct eventually and blah, blah, blah. But they're not smart enough to do that. So all it does is create Trump voters. All it does is create this white, grievance politics or whatever. And it's like, how do you not on the left? We're supposed to, I say this just because it's my personal point of view, but we're supposed to be smarter. Like, we should realize, hey, if we push this ridiculous over the top, and I'm not saying inclusion is ridiculous and over the top agenda. I'm saying if we push a version of it that seems like draconian or over the or whatever the word is. I mean,
it gets silly. I mean, there is a point where it gets absurd. Yeah, and then I know those people, and I think there's a time, and it sucks though, because like a lot of times the right's characterization of like what is woke and whatever, it's not real. Like it's not like they're not characterizing anything right. They're not saying that anything that is like anything they're mad about is usually shit that's not fucking happening.
Exactly. It's like their whole thing. I mean, one of the big things they say may have lost Kamala the election, which again is also, people say this, it's fucking stupid because no, this didn't lose her the election. She wasn't even talking about it, but she's giving trans people, or she's giving people surgery in prison. It's like, that's literally never happened. And that law has been there forever. That what the law is, if someone needs emergency medical attention in prison, they can't be denied that because they're in prison. That's called normal. That's human rights.
Of course. Yeah.
So if for some reason there's some sort of gender affirming care that is life threatening, then they can get it.
Okay.
That's all that is. It's not like if you're a woman in a female prison and you want to go get your lips done and get a boob job that they're going to pay for it in prison. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It doesn't even make any sense that people believe that. But the fact is that when somebody asks the person on the left the question and they don't answer it because they're afraid of the fringe left, but because if they say something like, well, what we're saying is, that in these certain situations, yes, I don't believe that we should be able to be giving people, gender affirming surgeries if they're just elective surgeries. If they say that, they're the extreme left is going to go, you're anti-trans. But if you say, well, everyone should get care, the right goes, oh, you're forcing people to get trans surgery while they're in prison. And it's like, how about just explain it logically, explain the freaking situation. And then when people on the extreme left yell at you, go, well, you're an idiot, you don't understand the news. And when people on the right go insane, explain it to them. I mean, I guess that's the problem with we on the left. I don't know. I'm assuming we on the left.
Oh yeah.
And our problem is that we explain too much, and that's not our problem. That is how it should be. But like all these people that kept saying, like, Kamala has no policies. No, she had a ton of policies. She said them over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And then you voted for a guy because she had no policies, a guy who literally said nothing. A guy who's they're like, they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs, and you're like,
that's the boss.
We're gonna give tariffs, 200,000% tariffs. What are you talking about? Like, it's insane. And then they'll hold her to this goofy standard of she doesn't give. But the thing is that we do give that, right? We do on the left. We over explain things. Well, here's how it's going to work. If you put this on here and this happens, and then this will raise prices here, and all people hear is wah, 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 right? But when they hear build a wall, black people bad, yay! Those are good policies. Black people bad, good policy. Yeah. So but it's like, so anyway, not that we completely turn the corner, but I know we're going there with.
No, that's cool. I think it is an interesting conversation, and it's always funny to me how like the left, like they do always tend to like vilify the most vulnerable after elections. It seems because we're like, it just seems, and now I feel like I'm just kind of coming to the conclusion that like, okay, we're just a bigoted nation just all the way through. It's like a little bit less bigoted on the left, you know what I mean? But it's like clearly like he won the popular vote this time, I mean, it would, I don't know. I'm just kind of
not a conspiracy
disappointed.
I've lost a bunch of friends recently.
Like
Facebook friends or whatever, saying you're a critical thinker. You have a show called Critical and Thinking, and you're peddling conspiracy theories. I'm not a conspiracy theorist in any way. But I'm also not, I am a critical thinker. So I'm also not going to throw away conspiracy theory. People do this thing where I say, I'm for this. And they go, so you believe what the government tells you. They go, well, that's a weird question. No, I don't patently, blanketly believe what anybody tells me, including the government. I also don't patently, blanketly dismiss anything that is the government. And I also don't call anything I disagree with the government. Moderna is not the government. Pfizer is not the government. So when I said, hey, I took the vaccine, it's not because I believe the government, man.
Right.
It's because I believe the science behind the vaccine, which has nothing to do with the government, other than the government helped subsidize it so that we could get out of a fucking pandemic. But for conspiracy theorists, you believe the government. I'm like, no, you just deny anything that you want to call the government so that you can have a reason to deny it. Well, the opposite goes true. In this case, and I'm not saying it's true, I'd like an investigation. There seems to be something way the fuck off to me that, and it could just be misogyny. I did say this when she took over, I was like mad. And then I saw her I was like, no, Joe Biden could still win this thing. I know people don't like him, but he could get back on track. He had one bad debate. You know, he beat him before. Let's not, and look at what happened to Hillary. We have a very misogynist country. Do not. And I was furious for the first week when they forced Biden out. After that, I saw the momentum and I was like, okay, I was wrong. I openly admitted on public forum, I was wrong. She's doing great. People are behind this. Maybe the misogyny was just a Hillary thing. Like people keep saying, we didn't like Hillary. Turns out I was correct. But, or there's something going on, because I've never seen, and I know people that were on the ground. I know people that worked in the campaign. I know people that worked in Obama's campaign too. They worked in both. And everyone I know said they've never seen this much energy on the ground. They've never seen this kind of a ground game. I mean, she had the two biggest political rallies in history, 75,000 and then 200,000. 200,000 people at one political rally.
Jesus.
She had, I know the celebrities don't mean anything, but she had every celebrity from Eminem to freaking Bruce Springsteen to Magic Johnson to, I mean, Obama was out there. Like she had so much energy.
Stephen Baldwin. Wait, I'm sorry. Not Stephen Baldwin. My bad. I don't know. You were on a roll. I'm sorry.
No. It's like every single thing. Then you look at the early vote. Okay. So look at Georgia. This is one that I keep bringing up to people. In 2020, Georgia had 5 million people vote total. The entire electorate of Georgia is 7 million people. Okay. So if 100% turnout in Georgia, that would be 7 million people. So 5 million people in 2020, the turnout was like, what? That's 70%. It's a big.
Yeah, that's high.
Of the electorate or whatever it is.
Right.
2020 had one of the biggest turnouts in history. It was like 64% or something like that nationally.
Right.
So we had 5 million people turn out in 2020. This year, 4 million people had turned out in Georgia a week before the election. So they were already at 80% of their 2020 turnout before the election, right? Early vote.
Oh, okay.
And they still ended up being the exact same number, 5 million. I think they were like 200,000 over. And they were at 4.3. So if you do the math on that, that means only 900,000 people showed up on election day in Georgia. Now, Georgia is one of those places that was pulling people off the voter rolls and giving them provisional ballots. And then we've been hearing stories that a lot of provisional ballots have been rejected or have just not been counted yet. So my thought is the same thing happened in North Carolina. North Carolina had over 80% of their previous turnout before election even started. And yet, no turnout on because they didn't have more. You would think that if you had 80% turnout a week before the election starts, that you'd break records. Right. You'd have 90% turnout or something. How did only 900,000 people show up on election day in Georgia? Like the numbers are off, in my opinion. Elon Musk, Trump kept saying that we don't need your votes. We don't need your votes. And I know you can't listen to anything he says because he just talks out his ass and says weird shit for no reason, just because it's like his weird narcissism thing. Elon Musk said it's very easy to rig the way the machines and counting and all this sort of stuff. He said it. He said it's very easy. So was there some sort of voter suppression or did they somehow flip some counts? Again, how does Josh Shapiro win 70% of a state that Trump then wins 52% or 51% or whatever it was? Like 20% of those, that's like 1 million people voted for not Josh Shapiro, Josh Stein, not Josh.
Oh, okay.
Josh Stein in North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
You're telling me 1 million extra people in North Carolina voted for Stein, a left-wing Jewish governor, but they didn't vote for Kamala Harris. They voted for Trump. Didn't just leave his name on. They voted for Trump and for Stein. Same thing. 57% of the people in Florida voted for the abortion ban. I mean, not the abortion ban, the abortion referendum, right? To
repeal it, right?
To repeal it.
Yeah.
57%, but yet only 42% voted for. But then the same people then voted for the guy who got rid of it.
Right.
To me, it's like either we are painfully dumb and painfully misogynist,
right,
or something is off somewhere, and I don't know what it is. I mean, I've never seen this much. And again, not being a conspiracy theorist, so nobody confuse. I'm not saying it was stolen. I'm saying something is off. I've never seen this much energy. I've never seen. I went from people going, "Oh, it's very close. Oh, the polls are off. The polls are being skewed. The polls," and we know that they were dumping these fake right-wing polls in there. All the good polls were saying she was ahead 4 points. All the Iowa poll saying she was ahead, which is crazy. Which no one thought she was going to win Iowa, but then she was in Iowa by like 8 points. That's a 16-point differential between what the polls said and what that's. And they said that no, there's never been 3 years in a row where it's been off that far in one direction. So the polls, so they've off toward Trump like three election cycles in a row, hasn't corrected. There's something very, very weird going on, because it went from people saying, "Ooh, yeah, Biden's going to get crushed," to, "Hey, Kamala's got a chance," to, "Wow, they're neck and neck," to the last week, people were like, "She might win in a landslide."
Right.
Now, people who do this data, this polling, I mean, Trump stopped campaigning the last week because he was like, it's like he lost it. Either he lost it or he knew he had it rigged. So why suddenly did all these people are professional. I mean, the James Carvilles of the world and all the people, the Bulwark and all the, I mean, everyone said, yeah, it's probably going to be close, but everyone was thinking like electoral landslide. They were thinking she was going to win all the swing. She didn't win a single swing state.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, something's off, man. I don't know what it is, but did 8 million people that voted for Joe Biden just not show up? And then the other thing is, we know that there were at least a chunk of Republicans that were turned off by January 6th. So he got 74 million votes in 2020, right? 74 million. Then he committed a coup. Then he got adjudicated for, and then he got 34 fraud counts, and he gained 1 million people. How is that possible?
Yeah. That is, no, I mean, I agree with you that I think we do need to look into this. If for no other reason, I'd say, even if everything you were saying was not reasonable to assess or whatever, even just taking in as evidence that Trump tried to clearly steal an election 4 fucking years ago.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even need, honestly, everything you're saying, that does make me put the alarm bells set off in my head. But all I need to know that we need to figure out a way to investigate this shit is that he tried to cheat 4 years ago, really dumbly.
Right.
If that's a
and then he hired 2 tech guys, and they pushed really hard for JD Vance. Elon pushed for JD Vance, who's a tech guy. He has 2 tech guys who've never done a campaign. Why would you bring Elon Musk in to do your ground game and then not do ground game? That doesn't make sense. You bring in a tech guy, the richest man in the world, who can manipulate things and buy things, and then also how is it legal that he was? 2 things. It was legal that he was purposely changing the algorithms on X, Twitter.
Yeah,
that's a fact. That's not a conspiracy theory either. He was he can change the algorithms, or he can have his people. He doesn't do it. Change the algorithms. So he changed the algorithms to where anything that was a right-wing leaning post or news was 3 times more likely to get clicks on X. So his 40 million people or whatever it was that's on there, however many 100 million people, whatever, that are on Twitter, I'm going to call it Twitter. Anytime there was something right-wing, the algorithm would boost it to the top 3 times more than anything left-wing. So he completely manipulated this media, which is why people are like, we need free speech. It's not free speech. These social media, they're not the news. They're not, they should be regulated. There's no regulation on these, on social media. And he did, not only did he do that, he was also paying people $1 million to vote for Trump. How is that legal? I don't understand how that's legal. You can't bribe people to vote a certain way. That has to be illegal.
Right.
I don't understand how these things are not being looked at. Like,
Right.
and those are the things that were on the surface. That was in the news. That's not like, these aren't things that we're uncovering. He literally was doing a sweepstakes. $100. He was giving $100 to everybody who voted, who showed their vote Trump, and then he was putting them in, and they were doing a little drawing for $1 million, like once a day. He was doing $1 million once a day to somebody. So it's like you're paying somebody to vote a certain way, and then you're putting them in a sweepstakes if they vote a certain way to win $1 million. Like, how is that legal? How is it legal to own a media company and be a candidate or a candidate's friend or being promised a political appointment and manipulating the media?
Right. Yeah.
Like, I don't know how that's legal.
I don't think it is. I mean, honestly, but the problem is now, fuck. I mean, now anything's going to be legal come January, whatever, they're going to, it's now they've got the House, the Senate, the presidency, the Supreme Court, like it doesn't matter anymore. Like, then this is what we were all afraid of. Right.
He's going to have 5 people on the Supreme Court.
Right. Oh yeah.
He specifically will have a majority, not just the Republicans, him.
Right.
He will have 5 cronies that he appointed directly. That's autocracy.
Yeah, that's literally what we're looking down the barrel of is an autocracy. I mean,
How did 75 million fucking people not see that? Or did they all see it and they want that?
I don't see. That's what's got me. Like, here's the thing, and I think you're right in a lot of what you're saying. I also think that. Cause see, like how, like you're in my generation, or like I'm 40 years old, right? And, like I don't know the age bracket exactly that you're in, but I'm a
little bit older. I'm 53.
50. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. But so our generations, like we didn't have the internet when we grew up. You know what I mean? And I think now we're starting to see these are some of the first generations that have had social media in their lives from the day they were born to the day that we're at right now, right? And so we didn't have that kind of exposure, and we were a lot smarter for it, I think, right? Because we were able to think a bit more critically, and we had more academic standards and things like all the things that are going down the fucking tubes now because we have all these social media, apps and stuff that are programming people to be fucking hateful and shit just so they can get clicks. Because hate gets clicks, it just does. Mm-hmm. It's like kicking up shit. It's almost like how nobody would watch those fucking those like Desperate House, or not Desperate Housewives, the Housewives of whatever fucking Georgia, or whatever that one, right? Nobody would watch those if they got along the whole fucking time. You know what I mean? That's boring.
It's the Jerry Springer from our generation, the Jerry Springers or the Maury Poviches. You go there to watch the girl find out that it's not her boyfriend's baby, and then the 2 guys to punch each other in the face until the bouncer comes in and drags him away, and then everyone goes, Steve.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, that is good. That's content, right? And we've turned our fucking whole goddamn system into content, and it's just like now we're looking, we're just looking at a bunch of brainwashed fucking people. Like, it almost feels like that Stephen King book Cell, except it was not a pulse that made everybody go crazy. It was a slow process of people brainwashing themselves, Hey, like I said, everybody, thank y'all so much for hanging out. And we if you want to play with things hanging out, you can go to adamandeve.com and enter that code word Brentley and check out to get 50% off almost any one item, 6 free movies, 3 free gifts, and free shipping on the whole order. Let's go to adamandeve.com and enter code word Brentley. So get your exclusive offer. Get your butt some stuff. And so that's my tagline. Get your butt some stuff. But if you want to support the show, you can do that by supporting our sponsor, adamandeve.com, or there's a bunch of other shit you can do. And you can become a patron. You can do, one time on Cash App. And the cash tag is Punk Apostate. You can become a member by hitting that join button. You can email me if I get anything wrong or anything like that. And, join our Discord and follow me on all the socials. But, hey, the main thing, though, is to stay logical, loving, skeptical, and compassionate. And we will see you next time.